Hey YouTube, it's Jocie P again with a new episode of Trans Gamer. And today we are actually going to talk about a game that pretty much thrives on Schadenfreude. And if I butchered that word, I am terribly sorry. Um, I'm very proud that I was able to remember it. But anyways, so what game you may ask what I'm talking about? I'm talking about Gloom. Gloom is a game, very fun game, where you take a family. No, 5 people. Like, this is the mad scientist family, if you can see it. And these characters, the cards are double-sided. These are some miserable characters where your goal is to take your family and kill them all in the most miserable and unhappy fashion possible, while making sure your opponents die with as much joy in their lives as they can. This is because in the Gloom world, in your afterlife, how horrible your life is determines how great your afterlife is. Now the game plays by having you draw so many cards, and as you're playing each turn, you're actually going to play 2 cards a turn, or you can discard a card to draw another card. The different types of cards you can play are standard modifier cards, like this one here. As you can see, they got a number of markers, abilities, and negatives here. For instance, this one's Starved in a Storm, which gives 2 minus 10 points, and a food icon, which that affects certain things in the game, which playing the game you will actually come across that. Certain cards will say stuff. And gives you a little bit of flavor text, and sometimes they'll give you abilities and stuff, or have penalties for playing the card. Another card, which has to be the first action you take in the game, is death cards. The person you play a death card on has to have a negative modifier, and when you do, you take the card, you flip them over, and they can't have anything else played on them. Once a person's party is completely killed off, or a person's family is completely killed off, then the game's over. It doesn't matter whose party, or whose family, pardon me, I don't know why I keep on saying party. Doesn't matter whose, but once they're dead, you tally up all of your individual dead team members. Every player does that. Person with the lowest score wins. Also, as I'm dropping stuff all over, there is action cards that can be played at certain times to affect the game. Now this is the core game right here, and it's actually a pretty decent stack by itself. It's about $24. Plus there's also a Cthulhu Gloom out there if you prefer more Lovecraftian style. But the core set has 4 expansions to it now. Unwelcome House Guests, or Unhappy Homes, pardon me, get ahead of myself, which introduces houses and mysteries, and the mysteries are stuff that will give you a constant negative modifier on your house. Unwelcome House Guests, or Unwelcome Guests, which introduce house guests, which are people who will keep the game going in some cases by getting your opponent to draw them towards them, as well as if they kill off those people, they count points towards them. Unexpected Expeditions, which introduces expeditions, which will have cards with a compass icon in them, and will then flip like a field modifier that everyone has to deal with. And these 3 ones come with families, by the way. And then the last one, which I have yet to play, but I can't wait to try it, Unquiet Dead, which introduces some rules actually from the Lovecraft version, or the Cthulhu version, called storyline points, as well as introduces Undead, which will keep your characters both alive for the purpose of playing cards, and dead for the purpose of scoring. Now what makes this game good? Now, it's a fun game in itself, but what makes this game really good is the fact that when you play a card, it's highly suggested you tell a story. So like for instance, I play this card, was better than Belfry. Yeah, I get the fact, I get the points, but I want to explain what happened to my character, or your character, whoever, when they go up and they get battered in the Belfry. Maybe a bunch of bats swarmed at them and they bounce around the bells for a while or something. But even as a shy person or someone who doesn't like a lot of storytelling, this game gets you into that mood, especially if you're playing 4 players, 5 players, and everyone else is storytelling. It's a fun game. It's one I highly suggest. I suggest getting off the expansions because then it gives you different variants of the game. My one problem with this is they don't have set icons. Like here, I'll show you. They don't mark the set cards any way different except for the new rules. So what this does is your standard cards become hard to separate. So keep a list. They do have a list up on their website. Keep a list of what cards are in it. So that way, if you want to play a base game, or if you only want to play with one expansion, because lower number of players actually helps a lot to play with one expansion only, if any, or 2 maximum, I think. But if you want to play with a limited amount, it helps keep the cards separate, which you can see. We've done a pretty good job on actually hand sorted that after a couple months of us having it mixed together. It's a game I suggest. It is horribly morbid and macabre, but that's what makes it amazing. Check it out. It's very cute. It's Gloom by Atlas Games, and as I said, I suggest it to anyone.